What did Tyrael see in the tribunal's shadow that made him bear mortal flesh? A 3-2 vote sealed Sanctuary's fate imperious, Tyrael, Malthael for annihilation. Tyrael and Auriel alone refused. A 3-2 vote sealed Sanctuary's fate imperious, Malthael for annihilation. Tyrael and Auriel chose to remember alone. And if Sanctuary's soil now holds the one thing heaven fears to forget, what war, still burning, does his mortal mind keep alive? Tyrael's cursed mind holds what heaven cannot. The sin war wasn't fought in the heavens, it bled into Sanctuary. The Worldstone's fall didn't just break a relicit, shattered heaven's silence. Sanctuary's founders, exiled angels and damned souls, built a vault not just for mortals, but for a memory. Tyrael's choice to walk as one of them wasn't redemption, it was a lock. Every battle there, from the Horadrim's lies to the Chaldeum's fall, echoes a war heaven still wages. What if the Worldstone's destruction didn't expose Sanctuary? What if it awakened it? The Worldstone's fall was not a revelation, it was a resurrection. Sanctuary's true origin lies in theft in Arius, and Lilith stole the Worldstone to forge a realm beyond divine reach. Tyrael's vote in the Sin War Tribunal sealed its fate. Imperious, Tyrael, Malthael demanded its end. Tyrael and Auriel refused. The margin was 3-2, yet the chamber knew destroying Sanctuary would not erase its sin, it would awaken it. Tyrael's mortal form is no salvation, it is a shackle. By binding his celestial self to flesh, heaven buried its guilt in a body that forgets nothing. The Worldstone's shattering did not expose Sanctuary. It unchained a memory too vast for angels to bear, the day Lilith's defiance birthed a world that could never be undone. The Horadrim carved lies into their tomes, they speak of balance, of a price paid. But what if the price was never for Sanctuary's survival? What if it was for its silence? Heaven wages war not to protect this realm, but to drown the echo of its own damnation. And Tyrael, cursed with the mind of an archangel and the body of a mortal, walks the only prison where a god can bleed. What does heaven fear more than hell? The truth Sanctuary remembers. The Book of Cain whispers, Sanctuary was born of betrayal, and in that betrayal it became the most dangerous thing in the cosmos. Pause. Let the lie crumble. Sanctuary was never a cradle for humanity, it was a wound. A heresy forged in the void between heaven and hell by angels who refused to obey, and demons who sought to unmake. The Horadrim called it a refuge, the angels called it a mistake, but the cosmos called it a weapon. Tyrael's mortal body is not a gift, it is a vault. Every memory he carries, every name, every battle, every shattered oath is a shard of the war heaven buried. They bound him to this world not to protect mortals, but to silence what he knows, that Sanctuary's creation was an act of treason. A renegade archangel's final defiance, encoded in stone and blood. Heaven's war did not end with the fall of Tristram. It sleeps in Tyrael's bones. Every time he speaks of balance, he repeats a lie. Every time he wields light, he channels the guilt of 1,000 celestial executions. The angels fear not what he could become but what he already is, a living monument to the truth they cannot unmake. What if the eternal conflict never ended? What if it simply changed, no longer a war of blades, but of memory? Sanctuary is the battlefield, Tyrael is the scar, and the cosmos, it waits for the day the scar ends. The vote was cast in shadows, 3 voices for annihilation, 2 for mercy. The iron hall of pandemonium still hums with the weight of that choice. Tyrael's descent, etched in the Book of Cain's 5th act intermission, is not a footnote, it is a wound. The air in that chamber grew cold when he spoke, cold enough to crack the stone beneath the council's feet. Imperious Tyrael, Malthael, their verdict was a blade. Tyrael and Auriel, their refusal a shield, but shields shatter, and Sanctuary. It became the shatter zone, the clue lies in the intermission's silence. Cain's journal, buried between acts, describes a draft of Tyrael's plea. His words tremble with the paradox of a champion who chose mortality to outrun his own legacy. The ink bleeds through the parchment, as if the act of writing it defiled the page. Why? Because Tyrael's mortal form is not a salvation, it is a tomb, a vault for memories heaven cannot unmake. The sin war did not end with a vote. It ended with a curse, Tyrael bound to Sanctuary's soil, his mind a prison for the truths the council feared. The iron hall's walls still whisper. In pandemonium's depths, where the air tastes of rust and regret, the 3-2 vote is carved into the flora mosaic of shattered angel bones. Walk there and you'll hear the argument replayed in the wind's sigh. Tyrael's side, a minority report. Oriel, long dead, is forgotten. Tyrael, still breathing, is a monument, but monuments rot, and when his flesh fails, what wakes in his bones? Heaven's war against Sanctuary is not about demons, it is about memory. The Angiris Council destroyed Sanctuary to erase a truth, that angels can be wrong. Tyrael's mortal mind holds that heresy. Every battle, every siege, every doctor of blood spilled on this world is a failed attempt to bury what he remembers. The Horadrim's journals, the Cain texts, the shattered relics, they all point to the same fear. Sanctuary is not a prize. It is a mirror, and the cosmos, it waits for the day the mirror cracks. The clue was there all along. A 3-2 vote, a journal entry, a cold hall. Heaven's war never ended, it simply changed shape. And Tyrael, he is the war's echo, a scar with a heartbeat, a curse with a name. Heaven's war never ended, it simply changed shape. And Tyrael, he is the war's echo, a scar with a heartbeat. A curse with a name. The book of Tyrael does not speak of redemption, it speaks of containment. When he severed his wings, he did not choose mortality, it became a vault, a living cipher for truths heaven could not unmake. His mortal flesh is a prison, yes, but not for sin, for memory, the kind that bleeds, the kind that haunts. What do you do with a war that outlives its gods? You scatter its bones into a world that cannot fight back. You let the dead walk where the living are blind. Tyrael's mind holds the sin war's Shapeth betrayals, the fractures, the names of angels who burned. Sanctuary did not inherit a savior. It inherited a wound that remembers. He walks as a man, but his thoughts are starlight. Every battle he wages is a rehearsal of older battles, every choice a reenactment. The Horadrim called him broken, they called him *hero*. They never asked what heaven buried in his skull, only that he fight, only that he forget, but memory is a fire. It cannot be tamed, it cannot be caged forever. When Angiris whispers of balance, he does not lie, he weeps. The sin war is not in Sanctuary's future, it is in its blood, and Tyrael, he is the war's final act, a key. A trigger, a man who cannot die because the war cannot end. What if the true curse is not to be remembered, but to remember and have no power to scent what comes next? The worldstone shattered, Sanctuary was unbound, yet the sky bled. How does a chains breaking tighten another's grip? Tyrael walks as a man, but his mind holds wings, not a gift, a wound. What if his cursed memory is not a relic, but a trigger? The angels feared the worldstone not for its power, but for what it hid, the lie of Sanctuary's birth, a refuge, no. A scar, forged by Traidor's fallen angels, and damned demons where heaven's wars could fester unseen. To destroy it was to scream that secret into the void, and heaven answered, not to save, to silence. The Horadrim carved truths into stone, but stone can be reshaped. What if Tyrael's curse is heaven's failsafe? A prisoner in flesh, holding the key to a crime the cosmos cannot forget. The war is not in Sanctuary. It is * because of * Sanctuary. And every memory Tyrael clings to every battle. Every name unravels the thread that binds the eternal conflict from spilling into the world that should not exist. What if the angels do not fight to protect Sanctuary, but to bury its memory before it consumes them all? Tyrael's choice to bear mortal flesh was not redemption, it was a sentence. By casting his vote against Sanctuary's annihilation, he defied the host's designate design that demanded oblivion to preserve the cosmos. The tribunal's verdict, sealed in blood and starlight, fractured heaven's unity. Imperious cold calculus, Itharael's hollow pragmatism, Malthael's hunger for purge, they carved a wound in the celestial order. Tyrael's descent did not save Sanctuary, it made it a wound that would not heal. To walk as a man is to carry the weight of 1,000 battles. His bones hum with the echoes of fallen angels. His dreams are not his own, they are the war cries of heaven's lost, the whispers of a rebellion that never ended. Oriel, his sister in arms, paid the price for his defiance. Her wings were stripped, her name stricken. Yet her memory lingers in Tyrael's blood, a silent witness to the cost of mercy. Sanctuary thrives, but its soil is cursed. Every stone holds the shadow of heaven's betrayal. The Horadrim, in their arrogance, sought to chart this darkness. Their tomes are riddled with gaps, their truths buried under layers of omission. Why? Because the world Tyrael saved is a mirror. It reflects what heaven cannot unsee, the sin that birthed creation, the lie woven into the firmament. The war is not over. It sleeps in every soul who remembers. When the next age stirs, when the veil thins, Sanctuary's memory will rise not as a shield, but as a reckoning. Tyrael's mortal form is the key. And the angels, for all their power, fear what he knows. Some secrets burn brighter when made flesh. What does it mean to resurrect a war by refusing to forget? The answer lies in the scars of a world that should never have borne the mark of heaven's shame. The scars of that world are not wounds, they are monuments. Tyrael's mortal form, bound to memory, became heaven's quiet executioner. What is a soul that cannot forget but a curse? Sanctuary did not escape the eternal conflict, it became its fulcrum. The renegades who forged it, fallen angels, exiled demons, knew the price of defiance. They built a sanctuary not from war, but asterisk for asterisk it. A stage where heaven's shame could fester in the end. When Tyrael cast his vote, he did not save mortals, he damned them. His mortal mind, the tribunal's heretic act, became a wound heaven could not close. Every breath he takes in that cursed flesh is a rebellion, every memory a shackle. Heaven's legions do not fight to protect sanctuary. They fight to silence what it asterisk remembers asterisk. The moment an archangel dared to question the High Council's lies. The chronicler now sees the truth no scripture will name. The Horadrim's tomes, their records, are but ash in the wind. What is written there cannot hold the weight of what was asterisk witnessed asterisk. The conflict never ends because the prison never sleeps. Sanctuary is not a refuge, it is a tomb, and Tyrael, its unwilling guardian, is both the key and the curse. What does heaven fear more than heresy? A heresy that outlives its heretic. The war is not in the heavens. It is in the soil, in the bones of a world that refuses to forget. And the chronicler. They now know the cost of remembering. They have seen the price paid in every star that falls. The Codex's next page bleeds ink where the Worldstone's ruins should beckracked, pulsing, alive. Tyrael's mortal mind holds what Angiris and Lilith stole, not a sanctuary but a wound. Their theft birthed this world, its foundation screaming with celestial blood. The Horadrim scrolls omit the truth how Tyrael's curse was a chain, not a choice. If his memories hold heaven's war, what warms the ground beneath sanctuary now? What if the stone's heart still beats and it never stopped fighting? The chronicler's hands tremble, the codex hums, its pages etched with scars from a vote that split heaven's spine. Tyrael, bound in flesh, carries the weight of Angiris's fractured judgmenta 3-2 verdict to reduce sanctuary to ash. That night his blade carved a covenant in blood and regret. Mortality was no gift. It was a shackle, a cage for the truth heaven could not unmake. The Sin War's tribunal did not end with a Dramelech's fall. It ended with a debt, sanctuary's survival, bought by Tyrael's stolen memories. But memory is a slow-burning fuse. Every prayer whispered in his mortal form reignites the council's old hatred. Every battle he fights leaks fragments of a war heaven still wages in shadows, the scars on sanctuary's soil. They are not from demons, they are from celestial hands clawing to bury what Tyrael knows. The chronicler dares you to read between the lines. Is his mind a weapon or a warning?